Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for a journey into the world of a true anomaly, a living, breathing caricature of what a bodybuilder can become. There's only one word that truly captures the essence of our next subject, and that word is freak. You know him, you love him, and a show like this simply wouldn't be complete without him. From Germany, the one and only Markus Rühl. He was a man who, despite his colossal size, genuinely never saw himself as big, even when he stood next to the sports giants like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, making them appear, by comparison, surprisingly small. He was the freak of freaks, the most monstrously muscular man many had ever witnessed. Markus Rühl never looked normal. He was, in every sense of the word, the most martial bodybuilder of all time. Yet, despite his undeniable impact, despite the thunderous roar of the crowd, his career was a constant battle against the judges' scorecards. He was told he wasn't big enough, had placings controversially altered at the last minute, and many fans believed he was robbed on multiple occasions. This is the story of the most underrated giant in bodybuilding, a transformation from a skinny soccer player to one of the most astonishing human beings to ever walk the earth. Markus Rühl's journey into the iron game began relatively late, at the age of 18. Before that, his life revolved around soccer, a sport that kept him lean, with a body weight of a mere 120 pounds. The initial push towards the gym wasn't even about bodybuilding. It was a doctor's recommendation. A significant injury to his left knee from years on the soccer field necessitated building muscle to support it. He started training, not with the intense focus of a future pro, but simply to have fun, to be a little bigger than his friends. These early days, captured in photos from 1992, just 2 years into his training, show a rapid, almost unbelievable transformation. Markus was a late starter, but a remarkably fast riser. An acquaintance, a German competitor, saw his potential. "You're so big," he told Markus. "You have to go on stage." He offered to guide him through the preparation. After his military service, Markus planned his competitive debut at the 1994 Newcomer Championships in Hessen. However, a shoulder injury during prep forced a delay. He eventually made his debut at the 1995 Bucko Cup, where he exploded onto the scene, winning both the heavyweight and overall titles at a staggering 243 pounds. The audience, stunned, erupted with cries of, "Wow, what the hell is that? And how big is this guy really?" Just 1 week later, the 23-year-old upped the ante, competing at the Hessen Grand Prix, where he placed second in a tougher heavyweight lineup. These early successes fueled his ambition. While working 10 hours a day at a car dealership, he continued to train relentlessly, knowing he needed even more size to advance beyond Germany. He dedicated the rest of the year to just that. By 1997, Markus had reached a new high of 258 pounds and utterly dominated the German nationals. This victory would land him the opportunity of a lifetime. He recalled winning the German overall, weighing 115 kilos, 253 pounds, the heaviest guy ever on a German stage. He was so massive he wondered if he looked too good or too bad, as he initially didn't get called out for comparisons. Then, to his surprise, they simply handed him the title. No posing, no further comparisons. Even at this amateur stage, his freakishness was evident. People remembered Markus getting his pro card at the International German Championship, already looking like a freak. Then came the call that changed everything. Wayne D'Amelia, chairman of the IFBB Pro Division, called him, having seen pictures of his German overall win. "Hey Markus," he said, "I'm sending you the pro card. I want you in New York next year." Markus was the first German professional to receive a pro card, a very fun thing for him, as people trained for 10 to 12 years without such results, while he achieved it in just 3. Shortly after, he entered the 1997 German Grand Prix, placing 10th. At first glance, this seemed disappointing, until you consider the lineup: Nasser El-Sonbati, Paul Dillett, Ronnie Coleman, and eventual winner Kevin Levrone. Thrust among the world's best before his pro card ink was dry, Markus took a hard look in the mirror. He knew he needed to be better, to stand as an equal. He hit the gym with his training partner, Mark Arnold, aiming for more mass combined with sharper definition for his American debut the following year. The 1998 Night of Champions was his chance to make an impact on U.S. soil. He arrived in New York at a staggering 265 pounds, and many predicted a top 6 finish. Though the judges only awarded him 9th place, the crowd took notice. They would remember the blonde giant. At the 1999 British Grand Prix, Markus climbed 3 places to 7th, behind the likes of Nasser, Dexter Jackson, Flex Wheeler, and the reigning Mr. Olympia. Even Milos Sarcev, who placed 5th, questioned how he beat Markus, admitting, "How on earth did I beat Markus? Look at Markus." But the real focus was the 1999 Night of Champions. Markus showed up at a huge, diced 270 pounds, instantly becoming the crowd's favorite. He hit his poses with power and conviction, leaving no doubt about his domination in terms of muscularity and mass. Everything about Markus screamed size and power, from his overwhelming bulk to his unmatched striated deltoids. Yet, to the surprise of everyone, in a controversial decision, he was called for 4th place, while Paul Dillett, who was in less than his best condition, took 1st. Loud chants of "bullshit" echoed angrily through the Beacon Theater as trash was hurled onto the stage. Head judge Steve Weinberger turned to face the mob, looking on the verge of violence himself. Amidst all the heated emotion, a silver lining emerged. The sensational giant had qualified for the biggest stage in bodybuilding. "It's a dream come true for me," Markus declared, "because it's always the best bodybuilders of the world." His goal for his first Mr. Olympia was to place in the top 10, then top 6 in subsequent years. He managed to gain another 10 pounds, arriving in Las Vegas at 275 pounds. As often happens with Olympia rookies, he wasn't called out for comparisons until late in prejudging. While another rookie, Jay Cutler, managed only 15th, Markus placed 12th before his drug test results came back positive for diuretics, leading to his disqualification. He recalled trying to trick the test, but the official was impossible to trick, staring intently. Markus ended the year with a 7th place at the IFBB World Pro Championships, ready to make 2000 his year. Y2K would indeed be a breakout year for Markus, but not without roadblocks. Preparing for the Toronto Pro and his 3rd Night of Champions, a shoulder injury threatened to sideline him for weeks. Refusing to repeat the 1994 scenario, he cut his time off to just 5 days, carefully working around the injury and lightening weights when necessary. His instincts proved correct. He scored his first pro victory over Dexter Jackson at the Toronto Pro, then placed 2nd to Jay Cutler, who also earned his first pro win that year at the Night of Champions. Cutler himself recalled being backstage, pumping up, hearing about Ruhl's win in Toronto, thinking, "Am I going to be able to stand next to this guy?" before going out and winning. Injuries continued to plague Markus. He ruptured his belly button and suffered an umbilical hernia in the final stages of Olympia prep. But again, he pushed on. At 280 dense pounds, Markus was the heaviest man at the 2000 Mr. Olympia, yet he could only muster 7th place, ahead of Jay Cutler, whom he had lost to just months earlier. Still, it was an improvement from his disqualification the previous year. He finished 5th at the British Grand Prix before undergoing hernia surgery. His breakthrough year ended, but the following year would be completely different. With each Olympia showing, Markus was placing higher. 2001 seemed like the year he would finally crack the top 5. He decided to forego spring shows, focusing on guest posing until gearing up for the Olympia that fall. Feeling too heavy last year, he aimed for complete shredding this time, incorporating 2 hours of daily cardio in addition to his 2 daily 2-hour weight training sessions. This rigorous regimen cost his upper body some of its typical fullness, but he felt the trade-off was worth it for the conditioning. As usual, fate intervened. 5 weeks out, his belly button ruptured again. With no time for surgery, it looked far worse than before. His goal was top 6, believing his condition was good enough. Unfortunately, the judges wouldn't give him the chance he hoped for. Despite being the biggest man on stage, the judges reportedly told him he wasn't big enough. Perhaps repulsed by the disfigurement, they gave him poor callouts, dropping him to 14th place. Feeling his efforts were for nothing, Markus was depressed and seriously contemplated retirement. But with the help of his family and the unwavering support of his legion of fans, he put 2001 behind him. Less than a year later, he would stun the entire world of bodybuilding. New York fans love a freak, and the Night of Champions, later the New York Pro, had become Markus's show. After the 2001 setback, he set his sights on that elusive title. He learned from his overtraining follies, cutting back on volume and cardio, ignoring the scale, and judging his condition by the mirror, as he knew the judges would. The result? The freakiest Markus Rühl bodybuilding had ever seen. At a colossal 290 pounds, Markus blew away the field of 30 competitors, putting on the most iconic show of his career to the music of Rammstein. His posing routine was completely improvised, and what he lacked in rhythm, he more than made up for with charisma and pure, freaky mass. Even more impressive, he was struggling with the effects of his umbilical injury on stage, his abdominal muscles cramping, making posing difficult. Nevertheless, Markus dwarfed every competitor, including the favorite, last year's winner Bob Cicherillo, who had to accept runner-up and the 1999 champ Paul Dillette, relegated to 6th. Having given up hope that the judges would ever allow him to win after past experiences, the German giant was pleasantly surprised when he was announced as the winner. Elated and humbled by the judges' recognition and the tremendous adulation of the New York crowd, Markus felt his spirit renewed. But it wasn't smooth sailing for long. While preparing for the Toronto show the next week, spoiled oatmeal gave him digestion problems, costing him 10 pounds of fullness, allowing rookie Art Atwood to beat him. However, this year's Olympia still held a glimpse of hope. He felt the fans supported him wherever he went, making him happy. He placed 8th at the Olympia, accepting it and grateful to be back in the top 10. "This was a very tough Olympia this year," he said. "Everyone was trying to take the title away from Ronnie. I was just glad to show everyone that last year was not the real me." Motivated to reclaim his spot in the top 5, he returned to training, but the pec tear from earlier would haunt him in ways he couldn't have imagined. 2007, in a way, marked the end of the German giant's career. His pec tear from the previous year worsened, creating a permanent deformity that affected his placings. He failed to place at the Olympia and finished 9th at the Arnold Classic. As a result, Markus decided his time on stage had come to an end. He explained that the tear started to turn from the inner side to the outside, worsening each year. Doctors couldn't explain why or when it tore or what was happening. This was the main reason for his retirement. He thanked his fans for their support, assuring them he was retired from the stage, but not from bodybuilding. The pressure of expectations from fans and his own high standards was immense, especially as he was constantly compared to his 2002 Night of Champions package, which he was never able to replicate. After taking 2008 off and with overwhelming fan support, Markus rekindled his passion and decided to make a comeback at the show closest to his heart, the New York Pro. But instead of a glorious victory, the biggest robbery of his career awaited him. He was in incredible shape, but the judges had other plans. He placed a controversial 3rd, a decision that sparked outrage among fans who believed he was clearly the winner. After a 15th place at the 2009 Olympia and a 7th at the 2010 Europa Super Show, it became clear that his competitive career was truly over. But Markus Rühl's legacy extends far beyond placings. He was a pioneer of the mass monster era, a fan favorite who consistently brought an unparalleled level of freakish size and density to the stage. He loved the sport, he loved what he did, and he hoped he could continue to make an impact. And he did. Markus Rühl, the German giant, remains one of the most iconic and beloved figures in bodybuilding history, a testament to the power of pushing boundaries and embracing what makes you truly unique.